March 30th, 1990. New Line Cinema. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cowabunga. 30 years. March 30th. Wow. So it's a little late for the review, but 30 years ago, and the movie still holds up. Why? It's not just a childhood thing. It's not just the nostalgia. It's just a great film. There's surprisingly lots of story and depth. I mean, there's all the character, messages, meaning, all that cinematography, the music, and of course, the costuming, puppeteering. Jim Henson and his Creature Shop. Unbelievable, absolute talent. Gifted. They looked great. They looked real. Much more than the crap we got with Bay's Turtles. Sorry, not sorry. Amazing how great these look, and Secret of the Ooze, compared to the two current films. I was a huge fan as a kid. Who wasn't? What are my obsessions? Of course, I wasn't able to see it in theaters back in 1990 because, wasn't old enough. I was just a wee little baby. But watched that movie and the second one on television and VHS religiously. I was fortunate to watch the third in theaters as a kid, though. Yay. The reason this movie sticks with you is that it wasn't, at least how I view it now, and like a lot of my friends and my family kind of view it, as just a TMNT film to sell products. Watching it as I grew older and appreciating films more, this one does it right. For being the first live-action movie of a cartoon and toy franchise, and, comic, obviously, created by Eastman and Laird. It did well with that part of it, trying to be like, hey, it's Turtles, the cartoon franchise in it, trying to sell stuff, obviously, but again, it was a well-made movie with its story and characters. All four Turtles, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, had their own unique personalities perfectly portrayed. It's one of those things, again, where it's like the stunts, the voice actors, everybody involved deserve everything. Corey Feldman as Donnie worked. Loved it. That's Donatello. The deeper story I liked was that with family. The all fathers care for their sons. Oh my gosh, that message throughout. Danny and his dad, Splinter and his sons. It gets you misty-eyed, emotionally well done. I tear up every time, many, many times with these scenes. All those emotional ones and all the scenes where you see the conflict with Raph, and then how he, goes out with Leo, and then how the two really do care about each other, and then Leo's so happy watching over him. It just gets you, and then he's happy that he's alive. Get some food! And the making up, Leo, don't. I mean, all of it is just emotionally well made. Shredder's intro is probably, I'd have to say, my favorite intro for a villain ever. That shot! It's well balanced, everything, the way it's shot. How the camera works and moves with that start. You see that shadow always walks in, the music. Boom, boom, boom. His presence, the chills. Judith Hoag was great as April O'Neil. Not only beautiful, but talented in her portrayal and acting, and she could kick butt at times. My favorite was Elias Koteas was perfect as Casey Jones. I loved him as a kid, and now, he's basically my favorite character in that film. He really steals a lot of the scenes. And it was such a shame to not see him in part 2. That was the one thing I have to say about part 2. No Casey. He was Casey. He stole many of those scenes, and that's what I loved about him, and what's so good about the movie. The human characters and the Turtles, great portrayals. This movie will always stick with me, be a part of me, as I'm sure it is with all who grew up with it, and who maybe see it now or will see it now. Major credit to all who made it, including, obviously, director Barron, and screenwriters Todd Langen and Bobby Herbeck. Music was so memorable throughout. John Duprez. The opening. That music, the sight, the narration. And then I love the back and forth legit, totally tubular. And they're trying to figure out all the stuff there. And then so many quotes in that movie. So many memorable scenes. Pizza Dude's got 30. All that stuff. The rat, it has a name. You lie. All that stuff. I annoy people to death when I quote these over and over again. So quotable. The history of it opened at number 1, grossing more than $25 million. The biggest opening for an independent film at the time, supposedly, as they, through some, sourcing out there. And becoming a huge success, eventually making over $135 million in North America and $66 million overseas for about a total of $202 million worldwide. That's amazing. This movie had heart, deep stuff. I appreciate it more and more as time goes on. I love the flashbacks and takes on the origin in this movie, and it coming to full circle during the final battle, and what a battle. I mean, after all this memorable stuff and the character and the development, the personalities, again, the four brothers' personality and traits are authentic, so real. All actors and crew seem very committed to this movie, you can tell. Truly genuine. The tone is fun, but serious, and not at all that cartoony. And after all that, and how loved it really is and appreciated, and then you see the personalities and everything from the movie, the emotional, the depth, more proof that Rotten Tomatoes is trash. The website's consensus states, TMNT is exactly as advertised. One-liners, brawls, and general silliness. Good for the unheart, irritating for everyone else. Bullshit. Sorry. It's more proof as why would anyone look at Rotten Tomatoes for judgment of films? Judge it yourself. Obviously, it's always the opposite. Also odd on initial release. From Entertainment Weekly, someone, Glaberman, gave it an F and said, none of the four Turtles or Splinter had any personality. Many people that I've seen, that I know, throughout all these years, even to like strangers, would say, no, this movie really gave the personalities of the Turtles. There were personality to all of them, and Splinter. Obviously, it was a different film was watched, but they did praise the work of Jim Henson's Creature Shop, so it's not all bad. Honestly, one of my all-time favorite films, after all these years of watching it, congratulations on 30 years of being so important. Basically a masterpiece, a forgotten, one of those underrated gems. It really, truly is a masterpiece in film. There's people I know from when I was doing film classes and all that sit there and would say, like, this really is a good film. So many acting buddies, directing buddies, all that stuff would talk highly of this movie. The tone is fun. Great story, great film. The best, just how it is. It's the best one. It holds up 30 years later and will 30 years more. 10 out of 10 for me. Cowabunga, my dudes. Congrats. Jay. Jay. Ding, 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 ding.